Hello, my name is Brian Martin. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at BizEquity, and I'm more than happy to take you through your onboarding session for your new BizEquity tool. First thing we'll do today is we're going to start with the 7-step valuation process. I'll take you through a mock business valuation scenario. We will then move into the prospecting tool, help you find ways to connect with new small business owners, and then we're going to finish up in the Success Center and some of the tools that we've built for our users to be successful with our tool. First thing you want to be sure to do is log into your unique white label site. Now I came to my site here, which is martin.bizequity.com. Your site's obviously going to be unique to yourself, so you'll want to go and log in. First thing you'll do is click the button up here. It's going to say log in. Make sure you do log into your software when you're running valuations. So obviously I'm logged in as myself. I'm going to click the home button, which brings us to the start of the 7-step valuation process. And we'll go ahead and start valuing a mock business. So I'm just going to type in beta, since I'm valuing a fictitious business in this case. Second question is zip code. I'm going to use the zip code where I'm from, so Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Now, the industry that we're asking for here, what we are looking for is a 5-digit NAICS code, or NICS code. That is the way that we identify our industries and make sure we're using the correct multiples when valuing the business. Now, most business owners are not going to know what their NAICS code is, and a lot of our users love to type in the SIC code right here since that appears on the tax form. But again, I need to stress we're looking for the NAICS code. So what we've done to make it easy is we've made this a keyword searchable database. We have over 9,000 NICS codes built into the system. I'm going to value a restaurant today, so what I did was typed in the restaurant. It's going to pre-populate 72251. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and continue. If it recognizes a company, that will pop up. I'm going to value a different company in this case. So now we're on to step 2 of 7, which is basic business owner information. So in this case, you're going to put the business owner of the business you're valuing. Now there's 3 use case scenarios that we see most popular with the BizEquity tool. First, and that's the example I'm going to take you through today, is you as the user would collect the financial data from your client or prospect. You would then log into your site on your own, run their 7-step valuation process, provide them the report later. The second most popular way the tool is utilized would be you sit in the room with a client or prospect, you fill out the data together. There are a few engaging questions in there, and I'll point those out to you where it's a benefit to have the business owner in the room with you. The third most popular use case is going to be the use of the smart link. Now what the smart link does is it allows the business owner to come in and actually enter their information themselves. That's pretty valuable, especially if it's someone that doesn't have time to come in and meet with you, or maybe it's someone that's more comfortable typing in their own financials. So I went ahead here, I pre-filled my information here. I'm going to go ahead and select business structure. Now it's very important you select the proper business structure, which then leads us to the correct tax form. So if it's an LLC, you'd come and select Form 1040C. I'm going to do an S Corp in this scenario. So this restaurant that we're valuing is an S Corp, inception year 2000, number of employees 18. Now these boxes down here are not going to change the valuation. This is more for if you are sending out smart links to prospects. It's kind of letting you know what they're interested in. So if it's business valuation only, whether they're getting ready to sell or buy a business. But remember, these checkboxes aren't going to affect the actual valuation of the business. So let's move on to step 3 and start putting in the financials. So as you can see, we do ask for 3 years of financials. We do feel our tool is the most accurate if all 3 years are provided. I'm only going to type in 1 year for the example case today. Be sure if you are typing data into the 2017, you make sure that you do it as an annualized projection. Now, if you're not comfortable using projected figures, that's no problem at all. I will show you a spot at the end where you can type in data for 2014. So let's type in revenue. Once you have revenue and pre-tax income, one of the coolest parts of the system will start to move. So you'll see this rolling return number up here. That's one of those tools where I think having the client in the room with you, it's pretty powerful as they can see their business value go up or down depending on what the financials are. So it's a pretty engaging feature. And then if you send a smart link out, this is what we think has clients continuing to enter data. So this is what keeps them moving forward in the system and typing in information. So as you can see, I'm sort of manipulating the numbers here. You'll see the valuation change as necessary. Now, two things to be aware of. The reason we had you select that tax form is we want the data entry process to be as smooth as possible. So anything that can actually come off the corporate tax return, we're going to put this little form icon right there. Not only that, we're going to tell you exactly which line to get the data from. As you can imagine, that's going to make hunting through those financial forms that you've collected, it's going to make it a lot more of a smooth process since we tell you exactly where to get the figures from. Now, some of the figures need to come off a balance sheet or a profit and loss sheet. So from there, if you're not sure exactly what we're asking for, just highlight over the question mark here, and we're going to define exactly what we're looking for here. So as we go, we'll move on here to step 4. This is all about the assets of the business. Most of this can come off a corporate tax return, at least in this scenario here. As we see, there's a lot of form numbers. And again, I'm just typing in some fictitious numbers here, so don't get too wrapped up in exactly what I'm typing in. Just want everyone to see exactly the process. Now we'll move forward here to the liabilities, which is actually the last step of raw financial data entry that we're going to do in the process. Most of this is going to come from a balance sheet or a profit and loss sheet. As you can see, it's mostly just question marks. Now, one feature I want to make everybody aware of, and this is going to appear on every page, we have a save for later and a delegate button. Think of the save for later button as maybe the client is coming to your office, you're going over this together. They did not bring in their financials from 2015, but they do have it back at their office. They'd be comfortable logging in, entering the data, saves them a trip coming back to your office. Save for later link is good for 7 days. What it does is it allows the client to come in, enter this data. It does not let them see the output, but it lets them fill in the steps that you've left blank or correct anything. The delegate feature is going to work the exact same way. Again, it's a 7-day link because we do want to promote that urgency. We want people to get this done. We don't want this, out there for weeks and weeks at a time. You can delegate it to maybe their CFO, maybe their accountant, maybe a different advisor has all the information. Sending this link to them, again, lets them add the data that you don't have in there. But again, they cannot see the output. So you as the user are the only ones that can see the output of the system. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Now we're on step 6 of 7. This is all percentages about the growth. So projected revenue growth, I'm going to put them at 8%. Long-term EBITDA margin, let's put them at 9. Percentage of business reoccurring. Restaurants, let's say this is a good one, people go back to it often. Let's put it at 65. Do you have any intellectual property, trade secrets, or patents? I'm going to say in this case they don't. In the scenario that they do, we let you know what to do here. We do want you to add that in the intangible assets, which is back on the assets panel in step 4. We'll move on to the next step. Now we're already on step 7 of 7, so we're almost done this valuation. What percentage of sales comes through your top 3 customers? Let's say at a restaurant, it's probably going to be on the lower end. If the owner of the business left, how would your profits and revenues be impacted? I'm going to put decline minimally or decline moderately. Now here's a question that's not going to affect the bottom line of the business valuation, but will help those of you that are going to position insurance products down the line for these clients. Does your current life or key person insurance coverage and risk management program cover the business valuation quotation above? Doesn't matter if it's yes or no, but what it does do is it lets you start to position this as a sales conversation when you've already gathered information and started to become a trusted advisor for this client. Now I'm going to show you a little nuance with the rent or own feature. Let's say the business owner owns the building they're in. Fair market value of the property, $850,000. Remaining mortgage, $125,000. What's the square footage? 5,000. Let's say the actual business entity that we value today owns the real estate. The property is owned by this business entity. What would the true market level monthly rent be? Let's put it at $6,000. We're going to separate the figures then. So we're going to give you the value of the business including the real estate, since it's owned by that particular business entity. Now, more often than not, if the business owner owns the real estate, they're going to own it through a separate real estate company, maybe a holding company. So let's say the property is owned by a second entity with common ownership. What is the current monthly rent paid to the second entity? Let's say they pay $6,000. Now we just have the value of the business. Or more often than not, a lot of the businesses are just going to be paying rent. So let's go back up here. Do you rent or own? Rent. Rent is paid to an independent third party. $6,000 rent, $5,000 square footage. Now we're actually done the data entry process. So what I'm going to do is when I hit save and continue, it is going to take us into the dashboard. Now let's say you did send a smart link out to a client or you weren't logged in when you ran this figure. If you were to hit save and continue and not be logged in, a splash screen will come up that says, thank you very much for filling out a business valuation. Someone will be in contact with you shortly. Now that someone is who is from your unique white label. So only you will get a notification that someone's completed a 7-step valuation. And since I am logged in as myself, and if you ran this, you would be logged in as yourself, we'll hit save and continue. It's going to bring us into the dashboard. And let's talk about exactly what we found out today about this business. So the blue is how the business ranks in its NAICS code. So it's the 8,759th most valuable restaurant in the country based on the NICS code and the value that we just put in. Green is where the business stacks up in its NAICS code locally. So within its zip code, the one we just valued is the most valuable restaurant within its zip code. Let's keep scrolling down. We have paid, this is step 2. So any of the basic information that you need to update, you can do it here. Maybe they have 25 employees. Update the email address and contact info of who we ran it for. Very simple. Now the key performance indicators are where it's going to be specific for the business owner. And this is a really neat part of the tool because we're not going to assume that all of our users are going to be business valuation experts. So what we've done is we've been able to leverage business performance data. But not only that, we're going to arm you with how to speak to it. So return on equity, you can click on that. Here's the definition of what that means. Green means they're outperforming their industry average. Purple means they're underperforming. Debt to equity, 3%. This is the definition of what that means. So we're arming you and giving you the tools to speak to these important key terms for the business owner. Let them know how they're performing. Or if they're not performing well, hopefully finding a course of action to make their business more valuable. We'll keep scrolling here. This is a review of the finances. So I did tell you could add 2014 or a third prior year's tax returns. This is where you would do that. If you need to edit any of the data, obviously you just come in and edit it here. It's not a hard concept to figure out. As we keep scrolling, we can adjust any of the sliders that are necessary. So first thing I'm going to show you, and this is not going to be turned on for all of our users. This is an additional feature, but I do want to show it while we're on the onboarding call. It's the insurance value report. So what we've done is we have leveraged all of the data we have available to us, and we've created a secondary report with the business valuation. So it's based on your inputs. Your company's valued at this amount. So that means the average company of that in that industry has a buy-sell agreement of this amount, key person insurance of this amount, umbrella, general liabilities, D&O, workman's comp, data security, property, and casualty. It's a very short report. It is going to be branded to your information. So it says your logo here. The logo of your white label will be here. We'll have your name once you're logged in, presented by. Now, if this is something that you didn't have originally turned on and you would like to turn it on, feel free to email me at support@bizequity.com. We can get that priced and turned on for you. Now on to the valuation report. So I'm going to hit this button, which is generate a new valuation report. Now with your account, you were given a certain allotment of valuations. So what we count as a valuation is once you hit generate a report, that company counts as a company towards your allotment. Now let's say you came in, you only had 2016's information, 2 weeks ago, and you generate a report. 2 weeks later, you get 2015's. You want to enter all that data. What you would need to do is generate a new report. However, if you're just updating the figures for a company you've already run, we're not going to ding you twice. So it's not going to count as an additional company towards your allotment if you update the figures. The idea behind that being is we would love you to keep updating the figures of the business each year. Maybe you're doing an annual, quarterly, or semi-annually review. You want to come in and update the figures, feel free. It's not going to count against you. So let's take a look at the actual report. So the report is a 29-page detailed business valuation report. Has your logo here. It's going to be branded, presented by you. First few pages are all about business valuation in general. Our methodology, some key terms, things to be aware of. Page 6 is where it's going to get specific to the business owner. So we're going to give you the four valuations of the business. The equity value. Again, just like those key performance indicators, we're going to define it and give you the ammo to speak to it. This is what equity value means. Asset sale. This is what the asset sale value means. Enterprise value. Liquidation value. So we are giving you those four valuations and explaining why they're important and also why they're different. So obviously these numbers vary greatly. Here's a review of the financials that were put in. None of this will be news. It's just the actual data that was put in. This is going to give it to you side by side. Obviously I only typed in 1 year, so NA is because I didn't type in any data. Key performance indicators get a deeper dive on the report. So return on equity, what does it mean? Why should it matter? Give me an example. Again, our goal is to arm you with the ability to speak to these business owners and provide them value. Let them know how they're performing and how they can do better. So the 29-page report specifically branded to your company, your white label, very specific for the business owner. This is what we think is the deliverable to the client. So the end result, and after collecting the data, this is what you provide to them. One tip, when we do print these out at BizEquity, what we like to do is print them on a glossy cardstock paper. We think it gives it a nice weight. Maybe go to a location, get it stapled like a booklet, makes it a nice deliverable for a client. And best of all, as long as you collect all that financial data, as you saw, we can run through evaluation in about 10, 15 minutes. So it's not going to be a huge time commitment on your part to run these reports for your business owner clients. Just a quick review of what we talked about today. Home, 7-step process. That would be running a new business. Once you're logged in, click your name, company console. It's going to show you any companies that you've run in the past. This is also where you're going to get that smart link. So if you are sending information out to a client, this is where you would say, if you're going to have the client fill out the report themselves, the smart link is what you will use. Any companies you've run in the past are going to live in the list in the company console. Now, one thing to be aware of with the smart link is we do have a lot of users that put this in their email signature. So they'll say, what's your business worth? Maybe there's a business owner client they didn't know that they had, and they saw the email signature, something they click on. I'm going to give an example. One of our users here, Peerless Business Advisors. They have their business valuation tool right on their website. So our services, business valuation tool. That's that smart link. What it does is it reverts people back to their valuation tool here. Really great way to drive traffic and hopefully find and uncover new business owner clients for you. Now that's the valuation tool itself. Again, home, start of the 7-step process. Your name, company console, any companies that you've run before, as well as the smart link. Now let's talk about the other piece of the tool, which is the search for prospects feature. Now what this is we think we've come up with a great 7-step process for valuing businesses. Hopefully you have business owner clients, you can value their businesses there. Now, what's the next step in that? We think the natural next step is providing this service and the other services you provide to other business owners. So what we did is we created a map it's essentially, if I had to give it an elevator pitch, it's Zillow for small business contact information. So let's say you're a wealth advisor in East Lansing or Lansing, Michigan. I'm going to type that in. So in Lansing, Michigan, there are 31,303 small businesses. Now that's in what the map shows here. So in this map snapshot, that's how many small businesses there are. Ton of small businesses, obviously a ton of opportunity, but sort of an overwhelming number to truly identify and go after. So let's say you have some dental practices as clients already. You're comfortable speaking with dentists, you'd like to work with more. So let's go ahead in the industry box here, type in dentist, office of dentist. So in Lansing, Michigan, office of dentist, 366, much more lean list to sort of market to, but again, let's trim it a little bit further. So these low and high is our valuation estimate. So let's say you only want to look at dentists, we have pre-valued at over $500,000 on the low end. Now, 44 matches, a much more manageable list of prospects to market to. So let's take a look at Caring Covenant Dentist in East Lansing. So I'm going to explain to you exactly what everything means on this list. So the first thing is the valuation estimate. So we have over 33 million small businesses in our map here. And what we've done is we've leveraged publicly available data sources as well as some of our private data partners to value what we think a business is worth. So in this case, we think this business is worth $540,000. Now, that's an estimate based on publicly available data. Does not mean it's a company that's run their information through our system. So what we've done is we've given you a level of confidence. So if you see a telescope, it means 35% or less probability of accuracy. That means we don't have a ton of data on that business, so that number is a shot in the dark. Binoculars, 55% or better probability of accuracy. It means we have some data on that company, but we are missing some key factors to really be sure of what the business is worth. Microscope, 70% or better probability of accuracy. It means that valuation estimate we think is right on. Now, the letter grade is what the contact detail represents. So an A means we're very confident and this is the correct contact detail for the company. So in this case, this is the key contact, there's their title, telephone number, website. If the email address is available, we'll show it. They're an LLC, established in 2004. Now, if you see this, benefit plan data. So for about 500,000 businesses that register their qualified plan data with the IRS, we've married that into the contact detail. So this particular business has two benefit plans, 407,000 total assets, 1.9 million in their first plan. So what we've done again is we've tried to arm you with enough information so you can market to these businesses. We obviously think that the business valuation aspect is a really good icebreaker and the way to get in with these small businesses. Obviously the goal from there, you provide them the business valuation, then you upsell your services, whether that's going to be wealth advisory, insurance, legal, anything from there. This is what we think. These are the way in the door. Again, you can do it for any industry, any amount. So let's go to the West Coast. Huntington Beach, California. And instead of dentist, let's do plumbing, heating, and air conditioning contractors. And the map itself is a Google Maps. You can manipulate it however you want. So maybe if you want to do your whole county, you'll zoom it out a little bit. So let's take a look at all of Orange County right here. Orange County, California. Let's not worry about the ocean. So all the plumbing contractors south of Long Beach and all the way out to San Bernardino. So 5,838. Let's take a look at just the big ones. So $100 or $1 million on the low end. So in that case, now we have 619. Again, the list here in this case, we do have the email address. This is the person to contact. So the best thing about this map is it's probably the most easy to use tool in the entire BizEquity platform. Again, you manipulate it as you need to. You want to zoom in on a certain area, you do that. Now, one tip I do want to give anybody is if you're looking for a specific business, just type in their direct address. 125 Langstraben in Paoli, PA, Paoli Rug Company. You zoom it in, and what we'll do there is it'll pull it up on the map there. That's the quickest way to identify the specific businesses you're looking for here. So that's the prospecting tool. Next thing I'm going to show you, the last thing that we have for you today is going to be the Success Center. So it's what myself and my team manage. And what it is it's a repository of collateral and things that you can use to be successful with the BizEquity tool. So I'm going to go ahead, you click your name, Success Center, and this is the Success Center. I won't take you through everything today, but I'm just going to show you some of the key things we've made. This right here is a PowerPoint advisor presentation. What it is it can be customized to fit your needs, but what we think is valuable is it's specific to business valuation. Why business valuation is important. It's formatted very well. We have some speaker notes in there for you, and we give you space at the end to brand it to yourself. Obviously, feel free to use this tool as necessary. If you want to add some slides, there's things that you think are valuable to discuss, you go ahead and do that. Right here at the end, you brand it to yourself. That's a tool we imagine is used in maybe a lunch and learn scenario. You've identified some prospects, brought them into your office or a restaurant for lunch. So we have call scripts, email examples. These are great generic templates to get yourself started. Maybe you have someone more junior in your office that's actually going to be calling these businesses that you've identified in the prospecting map. This is exactly where you would have them go. This is all about why business valuation is important. Again, they're great templates. I think the more you make them specific to yourself and your particular firm, the more successful you're going to be. Some marketing slicks, so top 10 reasons for a business valuation. Maybe there's some business owners who don't think evaluation is important. This is some of the reasons they might not be thinking of. We have client-facing materials, so a fact finder, which is great. This is essentially the 7-step process offline. Maybe some older clients or less tech-savvy people are more comfortable filling in their data, pen to paper. They provide this to you. You run it through your white label, get the report. Very easy. Business valuation checklist. So what someone would need to bring in to value the business. This is everything necessary. We also have some blog posts. So maybe you're looking to repurpose some content on LinkedIn or on your social media. You want to come in here and grab some of these. These are open for all of you to use. We have sample reports. So maybe a business owner is interested in evaluation, but they're not really sure what you're going to provide to them. These are fictitious businesses, but they're some industry specific. The numbers make sense, but again, you're not going to be putting out any of your private client data out there. So you're sort of letting someone know exactly what you're able to provide for them. client-facing videos. These are just both under 2 minutes. Very quick, very easy, just to get someone interested in why business valuation is important. Coming down here, we have our support documents. We have a user guide, a frequently asked questions database, playbook for prospecting. Sort of everything we've talked about on the call today, but it's a great refresher if you haven't been in the tool in a couple weeks. If you come in here, it just gives you a sort of a refresher on what to do. Our book that was written by our CEO and our Chief Valuation Officer about business valuation. It's not a long read, but it's really great for understanding why business valuation is important. We have some white papers in here. Feel free to repurpose these as you need. Videos and webinars, any video that we've put out, any webinar that we've done, they're going to live here. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you today is the BizEquity Support Center. So that's over here to the right. You can't lose it. Once you get to the Success Center, the button's always going to be here on the right. What this is, it's the frequently asked questions database surrounding the BizEquity tool. And we made it keyword searchable. So how do I enter a negative cash balance? This is the answer to that. So any question you think is on the generic side and it's been asked before, we've most likely databased it and made it keyword searchable in here. Asset sale value. Here's the definition of that. We try to put everything here at your fingertips and make it as easy as possible to get the answers that you're looking for. Now, if you do get stumped, the contact us button, this sends my team an email directly. Also, feel free to email us at support@bizequity.com. I'll throw that up at the end of the presentation here. And that is the onboarding process. So home, 7-step process. Again, make sure you log in when you run this. So home, 7-step process. Clicking your name up here. Company console, any companies that you've run, as well as your unique smart link. Search for prospects is that map to find businesses. And the Success Center is what, the repository of all the collateral that we've created to help you be successful using our tool. That's all I have for everybody today. Thank you very much for doing your onboarding session. Any specific questions, feel free to email us at support@bizequity.com. Again, support@bizequity.com. We look forward to working with you, and any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you. Have a great day.